Hey, Dipped. I just tried to send. I was doing bad with the IG people. I got to get y'all back on track. So I just posted something in the story, and I don't know why it won't let me post the regular one. Hey, why? Instagram is too complicated. Oh well, I don't know. Hopefully, people will see the story. I'm gonna give people a chance to come in. Then we're gonna read this really quick. So I'm gonna say welcome. Everyone, come in. Little Mac, what's going on? I tried to get on here a little early, y'all. I had to take a nap though. It was calling me. I was like, ooh, like a 2-year old. Didn't know what to do. What's going on, little Mac? I'm glad you had the opportunity to come on today too. I don't know why this is. I don't know. Instagram doesn't want me to do a regular post. I'm gonna do a share. I don't know. Oh wait, maybe I hit story. Okay, this is post. That's what I did wrong. Oh, but it won't let me. Okay. All right, we're not gonna worry about it. Let me pull up the document. Let's see, add to stream. That's what we're gonna be talking about today. You say it won't let you share it. That's weird. Well, hopefully people will see it. I'm gonna try and give it a few minutes to send out notifications. I'm looking at these watches. These watches are looking cute. I remember them from back in the day, but they look way more sophisticated now. I might have to go buy one. And they pretty cheap. Well, I sent it out. Maybe I should have checked to see if it was a lot of people that was on live. Let me check. Let's check, because otherwise I'm not gonna wait. I don't know. Thought everybody would be done by now. Hold on a second. I'm gonna check some things. Okay. We'll give it a few more minutes. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for coming back to Skyye Lyfe. If you are already subscribed, thank you for coming back. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you will get notifications when I go live. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, it helps share my information with other YouTube, basically on the YouTube algorithm and the stream. So it'll bring more people to the channel. But I hope all is well. Today we're going to discuss the United States versus Robert Kelly. It looks like the defense submitted information to make some changes. When I read through it, it's just to basically make some changes to the jury instruction. But they also threw something in there, case law, that I felt was very interesting. And you guys, it's powerful too. It's powerful. Very powerful. All right, let me clean my glasses to hold on, you guys. Hold on. Okay. Are we ready? People might be out and about. It was a very beautiful day this morning, but I'm not really sure what my tomorrow is gonna hold. So let's go ahead and read this. So I'm gonna be, once I read this, you guys, I can't see the comments. So Dipped, if you're still in the chat, please welcome people to the chat and let them know that I'm on the other screen. Basically, I can't see what they're saying. Hopefully we get some more mods in here. You get my message, Dip? I mean, did you hear what I just said? Please welcome people to the chat when they come in, because I'm about to read from the other screen, so I'm not going to be able to see them coming to the channel. All right, you guys, I'm going to go over to the other screen and read. Try and see, can I blow this up too for you? Why is it not blowing? Okay, maybe because you're in the wrong spot. You need to be. That's weird. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Okay, let me see how it looks on you guys then. Okay, that looks good. That might be too big. That's too big. So go back. Minus. All right. That's as big as it can get before it distorts. I'm about to go read. And you know what? Let me give you this. This is the because we need The pot is $50 short for the transcript. So let me give you this dipped dollar sign and Skyye Lyfe. That's for the transcript. For transcript donations, we need okay, transcripts, transcript donations. Okay, so Dip, you can share that information, please. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else going on? Hey, Candy Jones, welcome back to the chat. That's really it. If you could promote that, Dip, and other mods that come in, we trying to get at least $50 more for the rest of the transcripts. All right, you guys, I'm about to go read. Be right back. Okay, the Honorable Ann M. Donnelly, United States District Court, Eastern District of New York, 225 Camden Plaza East, Brooklyn, New York, United States versus Robert Kelly, criminal docket number 19286 AMD. Dear Judge Donnelly, the defense submits this letter motion seeking an amendment of the proposed jury instructions. The defense recognizes that the court directed the parties to submit joint proposed instructions. However, after review of the testimony elicited at trial, the defense submits the proposed amendments are required. Request number 16, Racketeering Act 1. With respect to the Illinois statute for bribery, the proposed instruction currently reads: Illinois Criminal Code, Section 5331A provides in pertinent part that a person commits bribery when, and it kind of, you all see it's a space, so it breaks it up, with intent to influence the performance of any act related to the employment and function of any public officer or public employee. He promises or tenders to that person any property which he is not authorized by law to accept. The government must prove beyond a reasonable doubt each of the following. Okay, so let's stop. Let's go back to this definition to make sure we have this clear. A person commits bribery when, with the intent to influence the performance of any act related to the employment and function of any public officer or public employee. Okay, so when you have bribery, it says you need to have intent to influence, influence the performance basically of a public officer or a public employee. Okay, in short. Then it says he promises to tender to that person any property which he is not authorized by law to accept. So basically, and then the other person promises or tenders to that person any property that the requester is not authorized by law to accept. Okay, so I hope that's clear to everybody. I'm going to read the rest. Okay, the government must prove beyond a reasonable doubt each of the following elements. First, that the person the defendant sought to influence was a public officer or a public employee. That the defendant caused another person to promise to tender property to the person the defendant sought to influence. that the defendant did so with the intent to influence the performance of any act related to that person's employment or function as a public officer or public employee. Okay, so let's stop. Let's go back. This appears to be, this section now that I'm reading, you guys, appears to be the changes that they want added. Let's see. Hold on. Different kind of person transfer. Okay. Okay. So I hope we got that part clear. I'm going to say it again. The government must prove beyond a reasonable doubt each of the following elements. First, so basically that the person the defendant sought to influence was a public officer. Okay, so basically, is it a public officer or a public employee? Two, was the person the defendant caused the person to promise property to the defendant. Wait a minute, how's this reading? The defendant caused another person to promise or tender property to the person the defendant sought to influence. To the person the defendant saw. Okay, so they're saying the defendant. Okay, that's kind of self-explanatory. It's a little confusing though, but self-explanatory. Okay. And you see how it says defendant each time that the defendant did, that the defendant caused, that the defendant sought to influence. Okay. And number 3, that the defendant did so with the intent to influence the performance of any act related to the person's employment or function as a public officer or public employee. Okay, so third is basically the defendant tried to sway the public officer to complete the act of getting the information from their job, basically. Long story short. Okay. However, the pattern jury instructions given by Illinois courts provide pattern jury instruction criminal 2111. Okay. Definition of bribery official. Okay, it says a person. Wait, let me make sure you all are good. Let me go back and check. Let's see. Okay, any questions, you guys? Before I finish reading it. Okay, I don't see any questions. Okay, the person commits the offense of bribery when he promises or tenders any property, personal advantage to a public officer, public employee, juror, witness. Those are the different options they have, with intent to influence the performance of any related. With the intent to influence the performance of any act related to the officer's, employees, jurors, witness, employment function. Okay. Or promises or tenders any property, personal advantage to whom he believes to be. Okay, I'm not going to say. Well, I guess I do have to read that in here. Let me read it again. Promises or tenders any property or personal advantage to whom he believes to be a public officer, public employee, with intent to influence the performance of any act related to the employment or function of a public officer, public employee. or promises or tenders any property, personal advantage to another person with intent to cause the other person to influence the performance of any act to the employment or function of a public officer, public employee, or receives, retains, agrees to accept any property, personal advantage, knowing that the property, personal advantage was tendered, promised with the intent to cause him to influence the performance of any act related to the employment or function of a public employee, or solicits, receives, retains, agrees to accept any property, personal advantage pursuant to an understanding that he shall improperly attempt to influence the performance of any act related to the employment or function of a public officer, public employee. The term public officer means a person who was elected to office pursuant to statute to discharge a public duty for any political subdivision of the state. The term public officer means a person who is appointed to an office which is established and the qualifications and duties of which are prescribed by statute to discharge a public duty for any political subdivision of the state. The term public employee is a person who is authorized to perform an official function on behalf of and is paid by any political subdivision of the state. The term tender means any delivery or proffer made with the requisite intent. Okay, now I think I know where they're going with this, you guys. I think I know where they're going with this. Okay. Public officer means a person who is appointed to an office which is established. Who was elected to pursuant to statute to discharge a public duty for any political subdivision. Elected to office pursuant. Okay, that says elected to office. This says a public officer means a person who is appointed to an office which is established and the qualifications and duties of which are prescribed by statute to discharge a public duty for any political subdivision or state. Who is appointed to office which is established. Okay. The term public office is a person who is authorized. Oh, I'm sorry. The public employee is a person who is authorized to perform an official function on behalf of and is paid by the state. Okay. No, that's not what they're saying. I'll explain what I was thinking. Therefore, according to the Illinois pattern jury instructions, the person charged pursuant to the statute has to either promise to tender property, or they have this underline, as you can see, or promise or tender property to another person with the intent to cause the other person to influence the performance of official act. Let's read that again. Therefore, according to the Illinois pattern jury instructions, the person charged pursuant to the statute has to either promise or tender property or promise or tender property to another person with the intent to cause the other person to influence the performance of official act. Okay, my brain is moving slow. Give me a second. I'm trying to see what they are getting at right here. The person charged pursuant to the statute. Promise or tender property. Or aha! I see what they saying. I'm sorry. I just came up from a nap. Here we go. So it's saying basically, therefore, according to Illinois pattern jury instructions, Robert Kelly, which is the person charged pursuant to the statute. So that means Kales has to either promise or tender property or promise or tender property to another person with the intent to cause the other person to influence the performance of official act. Okay, let's read that again. All right. Therefore, according to Illinois pattern jury instructions, the person charged, I'm sorry, I want to read it with his name in it. Therefore, according to the Illinois pattern jury instructions, Robert Kelly, who is the one who was charged, to the statute, Robert Kelly has to either promise or tender property or promise or tender property to another person. Okay. They have that underlined because they want to let it be known that Robert Kelly did not promise or tender property to another person with the intent to cause the other person to influence the performance of official act. Okay? So that right there, I hope that's clear for everybody. So basically, in this case, now I don't know if you guys want me to go ahead and finish, but so basically, so far, Demetrius Smith is the one who promised or either tender property to another person. Okay. And also the what's the other dude they said that was for the FedEx thing? Keith. I forgot his last name, the Keith guy. But right here, they haven't met it because Kales did not promise or tender property to another person with the intent to cause the other person to influence the performance of the official act, which is exactly what I said earlier, that they have not tied it to Kales. Let me continue. Okay, let me see. I'm going to come back, see if you guys have questions. You guys understand that? I hope you guys understand that. They have that underlined for a reason. And they have not, the person who tendered the property and made the promise to another person is not Robert Kelly. Okay. Now, what they could probably do, what's the they could try. Now I'm honest over here. Okay, if you guys don't want honest commentary, go to another channel. What they could use with this piece is what Mr. Keller was saying earlier. They can try and say together with others. Okay, because they keep trying to put Kales in the car. They keep trying to act like he knows what's going on with the transaction. So they could try to just because they're still trying to build the RICO. Now because basically it's clearly showing here they don't have it met for the bribery because Kales did not promise or tender property to another person. Demetrius Smith did, and the Keith guy did. Okay, so they might try and use that to build a RICO together with others. But then again, you can't. If the bribery isn't met, then that might just throw that whole thing out. But just keep that in your mind, though. Keep that in your mind. Let me put y'all things up real quick. I got to sit down and process this. He doesn't. Demetrius Smith says Kells wasn't aware of it. True. He did say he wasn't aware of it. So I guess he, like you saying, he can't say together with others. You're right, because Demetrius Smith stated, okay, but let me finish reading because I'm kind of preemptive on this. Let's finish reading because they address this. They address all of this. I'm being preemptive. Okay, I'm gonna finish reading. This is further illustrated by additional guidance provided by the Illinois pattern jury instructions. For example, issues of bribery official. To sustain the charge of bribery, the state must prove the following propositions. First proposition, that blank was a public officer, employee, and second proposition, that the defendant promised or tendered to blank property, and that the defendant did so with the intent to influence the performance of any act related to blanks as a public officer, public employee. If you find from consideration of all evidence that each one of these propositions have been proved by a reasonable doubt, you should find the defendant guilty. If you find from your consideration of all the evidence that any of the propositions has not been proved beyond a reasonable doubt, you should find the defendant not guilty. This is really wonderful, you guys. But let me finish reading. This is good though, because this is breaking down the instances in which they have to prove that Kells is attached to this bribery, because he didn't do any of these acts. Clearly, as I read it, you can see the name that goes in these lines is not Kells. Okay, so here we go. Committee note. Instruction and note approved by January 26, 2018. At the instant trial, the government called Demetrius Smith regarding the bribery charge. On direct, I'm sorry, I didn't pause right. At the instant trial, the government called Demetrius Smith regarding the bribery charge. On direct, Mr. Smith testified that he alone offered money to another person, that Mr. Kelly was not present when he discussed anything about the money, and that he received the money from another person, not Mr. Kelly. On cross-examination, Mr. Smith was asked, question, okay, now, Robert never had anything to do with you bribing anyone to get a marriage license. Am I correct? Answer, no, he didn't. The count related to bribery should be dismissed. If the court, however, decides to submit the charge to the jury, it is clear that the government's theory is that the bribery was conducted through an intermediary. Okay, hold on. I think I have an idea of what that is. Like basically saying that the bribery was conducted through someone else. But hold on. That's why you have your assistants. Hold on. New phone. I'm kind of slow. Google, what does intermediary mean?
Here's the definition of intermediary. A person who acts as a link between people in order to try to bring about an agreement or reconciliation, a mediator.
Okay. So they're basically saying a person that acts as a link between. Okay. That's what intermediary means, or a mediator. Okay. They kill me with these fancy terms and stuff. Why couldn't they just say a mediator? Let's read it again. Okay. This is great. This is great, you guys. At the instant trial, the government called Demetrius Smith regarding the bribery charge on direct. Mr. Smith testified that he alone offered money to another person, that Mr. Kelly was not present when he discussed anything about the money, and that he received the money from another person, not Mr. Kelly. On cross-examination, Mr. Smith was asked, okay, now, Robert never had anything to do with you bribing anyone to get a marriage license. Am I correct? No, he didn't. So this statement right here, you guys, and if you want to, take a picture of it, okay? Because this statement right here is breaking down what the testimony was, and there's no further any reason to argue about it, because this right here is stating what Demetrius Smith stated regarding the bribery charge, and it also states in regards to what Mr. Kelly knew and didn't know about the bribery charge. Good job. The defense is doing a great job, you guys. I don't care what the outcome is. This is good. This is good because they're fighting. Okay. They're fighting. They're breaking this down. This right here, it's layman terms, a nice little sweet paragraph. No question should be asked. They showed you at the top where the Illinois pattern jury instructions, breaking it down to you that it has to be the person or tender property, that the person charged to the statute has to either promise or tender property, or promise or tender property to another person. Kelly did not do that. He didn't do it. He did not do it. Okay. And let me come back. Make sure you guys are with me. You guys with me? You guys understand that? I want to make sure you guys are with me before I keep going forward. I hope you guys can take a picture of that. I want everybody in my chat to be informed, so when the ops come to fight you in regards to this damn bribery that I'm so sick of, okay? The stupid marriage license, I'm sick of it. Take a picture of that, and this is what you read them, okay? Read them this information. Take a picture of it. It might be small on your phone, but you could, what they call it, zoom in and expand, okay? That's the end of the bribery right there. Now, if the jury, for some reason, charges him with that, then we already know the game is rigged. Okay? All right, I'm going back over. But this is excellent right here. Short, simple statement telling you what Demetrius Smith testified to, stating that Kells had no knowledge of it in the testimony, whether they like it or not. I'm going over. I'll be back. All right. Let me see. Did I read this? I don't think I read this. Issues and bribery official through an intermediary. To sustain the charge of bribery, the state must prove the following propositions. Wait, did I read this? Oh, it's the same thing. Wait. First, that the principal witness. Second, that the, let me see if this is the same thing. The defendant promised to or tendered personal property to. That, oh, this is different. No, yeah. Same thing, but they appear to have moved it around. Okay, I'll read it. I don't even see the point of it, but okay. Issues in bribery, official through. Oh, that's what it is. Now they are discussing that. Okay, so they're stating that. Okay. So the count related to bribery should be dismissed. They trying to get that charge dismissed for the bribery altogether. Then they're saying, however, if the court comes back and says no, we're not dismissing it, then the defense is stating that if you're saying that you're not dismissing it, then they're stating that um the theory has to be that the bribery was conducted through an intermediary. Okay, basically a mediator. Okay. So now we're going to read about the issues of bribery official through a intermediary. Okay. I'm understanding it now. Okay. So to sustain a charge of bribery, the state must prove the following propositions. First proposition, that the defendant promised or tendered property to, and second proposition, that the defendant did so with the intent to cause so and so to influence the performance of any related act to the employment function of a public officer, public employee. If you find from your consideration of all the evidence that each one of these propositions has been proved beyond a reasonable doubt, you should find a defendant guilty. If you find from your consideration of all the evidence that one of the propositions has not been proved beyond a reasonable doubt, you should find the defendant not guilty. Committee note, instruction and note approved January 26, 2018. Okay, as illustrated by the Illinois pattern jury instruction, there are only two propositions. The proposed instruction would improperly provide three propositions. However, as demonstrated above, in any scenario, the defendant would have to tender property directly to the person bribed, or tender property to the person, a third person, with the intent to cause the third person to influence the act. Okay. The second part of the proposed instruction in this case currently reads: second, that the defendant caused another person to promise or tender property to the person the defendant sought to influence. However, that is not a proper reading of the statute, nor would it appear to be an instruction that would be given pursuant to the pattern instruction. Okay. The defense submits that the jury instructions in the instant case regarding the Illinois statute should be guided by what the Illinois state legislature intended and what is properly given by Illinois state courts. The defense respectfully requests that the instruction be amended so that it reads that the defendant either promised or tendered property to the official actor, or promised or tendered property to a person so that he or she could influence the official actor. Okay, so basically they're saying that the information that was submitted is incorrect and is not following. Okay, where was it saying? Would be given defense instruction. Um, they're saying that the information was submitted is not what is was wait, where is it? Is not followed by what the guidelines of the Illinois state legislature intended and was properly given by the Illinois state court. So they're saying basically what the prosecutors tried to submit, they tried to flip the words around and they tried to have the oh my god, what are they calling this? The Illinois pattern instruction to read differently, and the defense is wanting to have that changed so that it reads what we just have down here at the bottom. The defense respectfully requests that the instruction be amended so that it reads that the defendant either promised or tendered property to the official actor or promised or tendered property to a person so that he or she could influence the actor. This right here, you guys, is why you have to have a good attorney, okay? Because they are supposed, you got to understand, prosecutors and it's a game of war, okay? Nothing's fair, all right? So that's why you need to have a good attorney who is able to do comparisons. They were able to read this statement and find out that the information is not is wrote how they wanted it to be read, to basically make the information support their theory. Okay, so what the defense is saying right here is they wanted to be written again to meet what it was intended for by the Illinois state legislature and also by the Illinois courts. They're saying clean it up, make it read how it is intended to be wrote. Okay, that's what they're saying right here. So they caught this and they're asking for this to be changed. Okay, they want it to be amended so that it reads properly, so that it meets the Illinois state legislature and basically what the Illinois state courts intended for it to read. Okay, I hope you guys got that. Then up here, it appears that as illustrated by the Illinois pattern of jury instruction, there are only 3 propositions. But they're saying that, to my understanding, that the proposed instructions that were provided, to my understanding, provided a 3rd proposition. Okay, so it appears they snuck one in, if I'm reading that properly. It appears that they snuck a proposition in, and once again, the legal team caught it. Okay. The defendant would have to tender property, okay, of a 3rd person. All right, so those are 2 things that I see that are happening. Now, once again, you guys, I'm not a legal Smeagol. I am just reading and trying to understand this with my regular brain processes, okay? That's what I am. That's how I'm reading this, okay? You might have a different opinion, and it may actually be something different, but that's how I'm reading this, okay? All right, so let's go down. Okay, that's the part. Okay, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Okay, do you guys get that? Do you guys get that? Okay, Candy says yes. He doesn't. Okay. Why aren't the people who were so-called bribed have not been charged? Because they were given immunity, Candy Jones. They gave Demetrius Smith immunity, and I don't even know about the other Keith guy, but they were given immunity in order to testify. That's why they are walking free. Then let's see, he bribed the government officials, but how money or what did he give the person he bribed? I don't think they never said it. That's why it's not true. No, they did state I'm gonna have to go back because I think I actually have Demetrius. We went over this though. I think we actually went over this. with Demetrius. No. Let me see. I can't remember. There's so much going on. But they did discuss in the transcripts when Demetrius Smith, his testimony, he stated, I believe he stated how much was paid in order to process the fake marriage license. But I don't remember him stating how much he paid the public aid worker. That I don't remember, but that's not hard to get. We can get that. So he says he bribed the government officials, but how money or who or what did he give the person? Yeah, it was all money exchanges. Thank you, Courtney Love. Welcome. Look, welcome back. Okay, so you got it. Y'all got it. So now we're gonna move down to the infectious disease talk. So I hope everybody's clear on the bribery. Let's go to read the rest. All right. California Health and Safety Code 120-90. With respect to California Health and Safety Code 120-90, the proposed instruction currently reads: the government must prove beyond a reasonable doubt, first, that the defendant knew that he was afflicted with any contagious, infectious, or communicable disease. Second, that the defendant exposed himself to Jane Doe number 5 by engaging in unprotected sexual activity with Jane Doe number 5. We know who that is. Third, that the defendant acted willfully. And fourth, that the defendant did not inform Jane Doe number 5 that he had a contagious, infectious, or communicable disease and obtain her consent to expose himself in the circumstances prior to engaging in the exposure. Wow. Okay. All right. That's a new addition. Let's read that again. Fourth, that the defendant did not inform Jane Doe number 5 that he had a contagious, infectious, or communicable disease, or obtain her consent to expose himself in these circumstances prior to engaging in the performance. Prior to engaging in the exposure. So that's stating that that Jane Doe didn't consent, didn't know that he had it, and then knowing that he had it gave him consent to go ahead and I guess engage in sexual activity. Okay. So however, the text of the statute actually provides, I think up here, this is the part, the proposed instruction. Okay, this is the instruction that was provided. I'm getting it now. So this top part, you guys, appears to be what was provided to the jury. Okay, jury instructions previously. And now they're saying what the statute actually how it actually reads. Okay. Let's see. However, the text of the statute actually provides a defendant is guilty of intentional transmission of an infectious or communicable disease if all of the following apply. The defendant knows that he or she or a third party is afflicted with an infectious or communicable disease. The defendant acts with a specific intent to transmit or cause an afflicted third party to transmit that disease to another person. The defendant or the afflicted third party engages in conduct that poses a substantial risk of transmission to that person, the defendant or the third party transmits the infectious or communicable disease to the other person. If exposure occurs through interaction with the defendant and not a third party, the person exposed to the disease during voluntary interaction with the defendant did not know that the defendant was afflicted with the disease. A person's interaction with the defendant is not involuntary solely on the basis of his or her lack of knowledge that the defendant afflicted with the disease. Okay, that was a mouthful. Let's read that again. Okay. Might as well read the whole thing. Okay. E. If exposure occurs through interaction with the defendant and not a third party, the person exposed to the disease during voluntary interaction with the defendant did not know that the defendant was afflicted with the disease. A person's interaction with the defendant is not involuntary solely on the basis of his or her lack of knowledge that the defendant was afflicted with the disease. Okay. Person's interaction with the defendant. Okay. 2. A defendant is guilty of willful exposure to an infectious or communicable disease if a health officer or the health officer's designee, acting under circumstances that make securing a quarantine or health officer order infeasible, has instructed the defendant not to engage in particular conduct that poses a substantial risk of transmission of an infectious or communicable disease, and a defendant engages in conduct within 96 hours of the instruction. Oh. A health officer or health officer's designee may issue a maximum of 2 instructions to a defendant that may result in the violation of this paragraph. Okay, then let's go back. Let's read this again. A defendant is guilty of willful exposure to an infectious or communicable disease if a health officer or the health officer's designee, acting under circumstances to make securing a quarantine or health officer order infeasible, has instructed the defendant not to engage in a particular conduct that poses a substantial risk of transmission of an infectious or communicable disease, and the defendant engages in the conduct within 96 hours of the instruction. The health officer or the health officer's designee may issue a maximum of 2 instructions to a defendant that may result in the violation of this paragraph. So basically, they saying number 2, that the doctor or whoever the health official is that is telling this person that they so basically they saying that Kels's doctor needed to let him know that he has an infectious disease, the herp, and that since he has the herp, that he's not to engage in any particular conduct, okay, that is going to cause a risk of transmission of the herp to anyone else. And it says if the defendant goes, basically, so if Kelly goes against that and the defendant engages in you already know the defendant is Kels. So basically, if they tell Kels, you got the herp, you're not to have sex with anyone Okay, gives him guidelines of what he can and cannot do because he has an infectious disease. Okay. And then he goes against what they're saying within 96 hours of what the doctor has told him. Okay, then they're saying at that point a health officer can um, designate two instructions to Kales that may result in a violation of this paragraph. Okay, the defendant. Okay, wait a minute. Why does that say? Okay, they got B under A. I don't know why. So let's read A first. If the defendant takes or attempts to take practical means to prevent transmission. Oh, listen to that. If the defendant takes or attempts, reading is very important. How words are used and how they are used is very important. If a defendant takes or attempts to take practical means to prevent transmission, the defendant does not act. B. The defendant does not act with the intent required pursuant to subparagraph B of paragraph 1 of subdivision. I don't even know why they got that there. No period and no nothing. Hey, it's gone. I don't get that. Here, God, legalese. Okay, failure to take practical means to prevent transmission alone is insufficient to prove the intent required pursuant to subparagraph B. Okay, failure to take practical means to prevent transmission alone is insufficient to prove intent required pursuant to subparagraph B of paragraph 1 of subdivision A. D. Becoming pregnant while infected with an infectious or communicable disease, continuing a pregnancy while infected with an infectious or communicable disease, or declining treatment for an infectious or communicable disease during pregnancy does not constitute a crime for purposes of this section. Okay, DE. For purposes of this section, the following definition shall apply. 1. Conduct that poses a substantial risk of transmission means an activity that has reasonable probability of disease transmission as proven by competent medical or epidemiological evidence. Conduct posing a low or negligible risk of transmission as proven by competent medical or epidemiological evidence does not meet the definition of conduct posing a substantial risk of transmission. 2. Infectious or communicable disease means a disease that spreads from that spreads from person to person, directly or indirectly, that has significant public health implications. 3. Practical means to prevent transmission means a method, device, behavior, or activity demonstrated scientifically to measurably limit or reduce the risk of transmission of an infectious or communicable disease, including but not limited to the use of a condom, barrier protection, or prophylactic device, or good faith compliance with a medical treatment regimen for the infectious or communicable disease prescribed by a health officer or physician. This section does not preclude a defendant from asserting any common law defense. Okay. Ooh, that was a lot, you guys. I need some water. Hold on. Oh my goodness. And this ain't even but 8 pages, which make your brain work. Okay, so let's finish. Let me just finish. Okay. The statute also provides. 2. A defendant's medical records, medications, prescriptions, or medical devices shall not be used as a sole basis of establishing the specific intent required pursuant to subparagraph B of paragraph 1 of subdivision A. Let's read that again. A defendant's medical records, medication, prescriptions, or medical devices shall not be used as a sole basis of establishing the specific intent required pursuant to subparagraph B of paragraph 1 of subdivision A. Let me see if that's up here. Paragraph P of paragraph of subdivision A. Paragraph B of paragraph 1. This right here looks like subdivisions right here. But without us having the whole thing, that's what they're referencing to. But let's go ahead and read. Initially, the defense respectfully requests that the court require the government to indicate whether the claim is that Mr. Kelly intentionally exposed others or that he willfully exposed others. Further, the defense respectfully requests that the court provide an instruction that the defendant does not act with the intent required pursuant to the statute if the defendant takes or attempts to take practical means to prevent transmission. The defense also respectively requests that the court provide an instruction that failure to take practical means to prevent transmission alone is insufficient to prove the intent to transmit a communicable disease. Here we go. That part. Take a picture of that. Take a picture of this. This is basically, let's read it again. A defendant's medical, because they kept saying they got his Walgreens, they got his medication, they got his medical information. Okay, and so basically the statute provides this information stating that that's not enough to prove intent or negligence to infect another person. Okay, so here we go. A defendant's medical records, medication, prescriptions, or medical devices shall not be used as a sole basis for establishing the specific intent required to bring the charge. Basically what they saying at the end of that. Okay, so they saying you need to have, they're saying where's the beef? That's what they're saying. Just because you got some a Walgreens statement or he got his medication stating that he got some Valtrex, that that's not enough to prove that he intended to transmit a communicable disease to anyone. That's what that's stating. Once again, it's very important that you have a good legal attorney, because what they are doing, they are going in and they are dissecting this information and they are showing you what the statute reads, and then they are coming back and showing you how it's going to have to apply to Mr. Kelly. Okay, let's read this again. Initially, the defense respectfully, they're asking the court to indicate, they want them to clarify to the jury the following, okay, to make sure that they rule the correct way of not guilty. Okay, initially, the defense respectfully requests that the court require the government to indicate whether the claim is that Mr. Kelly intentionally exposed others or willfully exposed. Okay, because basically when we read above, we read the the statute above, it kept saying the defendant acts with the specific intent. So they're trying to establish was their intent. Was it done willfully or was it done intentionally? Okay, that's what they're trying to get clarification. They want that to be stated to the jury. Then they're further saying the defense respectfully requests that the court provide an instruction to the jury that the defendant does not act with the intent that's what it says. That the defendant does not act with the intent required pursuant to the statute if the defendant takes or attempts to take practical means to prevent transmission. Okay? And what does that mean right there? Do you need a condom? Do you want to use a condom? Okay. Mr. Kelly is coming down. Do you need a condom? And we don't even know if the man had condoms in the room. We don't know if the man was a condom distributor. We don't know if he kept condoms in his wallet like most men do, just in case they run into something that they want to tamper on and try out. We don't know, but we have heard multiple testimony about condoms being offered. So let's read that again. Okay. Further, the defense respectfully requests the court to provide an instruction that the defendant does not act with intent required pursuant to the statute if Kelly takes or attempts to take practical means to prevent transmission. Okay, so that's stating that we have heard testimony of how they will offer condoms. We don't know what personal conversation he's had with people, but we do know the testimony of the one lady where they offered this lady a condom. Do you need protection? Okay, remember that? Weave the web, people. They asked the lady, did she need protection? Then they told her, do you need a condom? So that was all that stuff came in. Okay. Good job, defense, once again. Give them a clap, you guys. Give them a round of applause. Okay, let's finish reading the last statement. The defense also respectfully requests that the court provide an instruction that failure to take practical means to prevent transmission alone is insufficient to prove the intent. Okay. That the court provide an instruction that failure to take practical means to prevent transmission alone is insufficient to prove the intent to transmit a communicable disease. Okay, so they're basically stating that if Kale's failure to take practical means, they're stating that if he didn't take practical means to prevent transmission, that is not enough. That is not enough information to prove intent to transmit a communicable disease. Okay, so wait a minute. Now we have to find out practical means. Let's see if okay. Let's go to practical means real quick. Practical means to prevent transmission means a method, device, behavior, or activity demonstrated scientifically to measurably limit or reduce risk of transmission of any or communicable disease, including but not limited to the use of a condom, barrier protection, prophylactic, and good faith compliance with medical treatment regimen for the infectious or communicable disease prescribed by the health officer. Okay. I'm going back and forth, you guys, because I'm trying to make sure I understand what this is saying. The defense also respectfully requests that the court provide instruction that failure to take practical means Okay, so they're saying that whether he did take he took, let's see. Okay, so basically this is reading whether he did or didn't take practical means to prevent transmission. That alone is still not enough to prove that he intentionally transmitted a communicable disease. Okay, sorry, my brain was a little slow. That's what that's saying. When you read this, and you can come back here and see, we just read what practical means of prevention, what that means. Okay, but we also again see the use of a condom. Okay, let me come back and make sure you guys are with me. So before we go to the last one, all right, you guys got that? Let's go back. Let me see what I missed. Early on, I thought Stephen Greenberg said that the sexually transmitted disease was a misdemeanor. You know what? I don't know. Girl doing this, and it might be though. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily know that it's a felony or what. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. I'm not really sure. Um, Girl, dang, this should apply to all who gave this to somebody. True. Progress. What's going on? What's up, people's watching your live from earlier today? Yeah, go ahead and watch that so you can catch up. That's what I'm saying. Everybody gotta try to stay on track so we don't overlap and have to go back over things. It sounds like you have to have intent to give the disease to someone. You must take precautions not to spread it to facts. There you go, right there. That's what it's saying. And that information makes you guys go back and watch this video and listen to what they're saying. It's a whole bunch of things that you have to follow. Okay. A whole bunch. All right. Truth be told, what's going on? I remember, right. 71 Suburban 312. What's going on? Welcome back. And it is still where my mods at? Mods, I need you guys to welcome people to the chat, please. When they come in, if I'm reading, I need you guys to welcome people to the chat. Also, we need to have we short $50 for getting the rest of the transcripts. Mods, I need you to share this information, post it. SK1YE NYFE for transcript donations. Okay. Make sure you guys post that, and please let me know how many likes we got. We got to all get on the same page. I need all the moderators doing the same thing. But if I'm reading or if I'm not seeing somebody come in the chat, moderators, I need you to welcome them. Welcome them to the chat. Okay. And we need at least $50 more to get the rest of the transcripts. And but please do that. Welcome people to the chat. I don't want people just coming into the chat, nobody saying, hey, I don't want them feeling isolated, because you got to remember, some of us know each other from way back. Some people that come in here are new and they don't know any of us. So please welcome them. A simple hello, and let them know, because I can't see the chat because I'm reading. So please let them know that I'm reading, and I'm gonna come back to you guys. Okay, I need you guys to have my back. I need y'all to have my back. She said we need to play Is It a Crime by Shot. Hit the like button, please. Please hit the like button. Okay, also that is we need $50 more to get the rest of the transcript. So please, if you would like to donate, please donate. We got a lot more transcripts to get, you guys. A lot more. What's the link? I'll read the comments while you read the transcripts. No, I'm cool. We got 11 and 9 likes. Okay, that's cool. Thank you. Yes, please welcome everybody. Okay. Cause like I'm looking, you guys, like 312 popped in. Um, I don't see nobody who welcome 312. I'm just saying, y'all have my back. When people come in, truth be told, I need y'all to say hello. Let them know. All right, you guys. So basically, does everybody understand what was read regarding the communicable disease? Okay. All right. Any questions? Any questions? Because basically they are breaking down um let me go back. They're breaking down the they're trying to that's why they were asking about the intent of willful or willfully exposing somebody. Um they're just breaking down the requirements to charge him to be able to prove that he transmitted a communicable disease to Jane Doe number 5. Certain things have to be met. Okay, it's not just because we say that he gave it to her that's what it is. Based on the Illinois statutes that I have read, it's telling you what the Illinois statutes are, and then they're also breaking down to you how it directly is in relation to Mr. Kelly and what needs to be provided, what instructions should be provided to the jury so that they understand how to read the information that they have been given, because all this stuff is legal smeagol, legal jargon, basically information that only people in the legal field clearly understand. So the defense is asking to please give guidance to the jurors so that they can have a basic how do I put it? Oh, what's the word? Basic. Oh, what's the word? Basically have the basically provide the information to them so anybody reading it can understand it. Layman's terms, okay? Provide the information in layman's terms, basically, so that anybody reading it can understand it. All of this legal smeagol, how they're present this information. Some people don't have the capability of understanding. You see, I'm going back and forth trying to figure out what it's saying. So they're saying the defense is asking the court to provide instruction that the jury can understand so they can make a clear decision that Kells did not intentionally transmit a communicable disease to Jane Doe number 5. Okay. And on that charge, he will be found not guilty. Okay. Because they have to prove intent or whether he willfully did it. Okay. So we will see what the response is, if they're willing to make that change, if the government is willing to make the change so that the jurors can understand exactly what they're reading. All right, let me check again with you guys. Any questions? When Kells wins, we all win. That's right. Kells will be coming home. Truth be told. Remember when Kells win? Yes, please hit the like button. Thank you, guys. Trina, Tina, I need you. I need you, Trina, Tina. It's some transcripts that I'm missing. I'm missing some transcripts. I need you, Trina, Tina. If you got anything after, hold up. Let me know if you got any transcript after. Let me go to my email. Good job, Courtney. Welcome into the chat. Let's see. What did I say? Okay, I need to go to my email. No, not my email. Hold up. Not my email. Go to. I need to go to my. Not here. Messages. Trina Tina, if you have any transcripts after 8:25, I'm about to put in the chat, you guys. Mods, please share this if people need it. skywins@gmail.com. If you have anything after 8:25, I truly, truly would appreciate it. And I'm really specifically looking for September 9th and September 10th. But if you send that, I got you. I got you. I appreciate all of us in this fight. Yes, that's right. All right, you guys. So I'm about to go back and read. I need y'all to be my eyes and ears, minds. Okay, now this part right here, you guys, let's get ready. Let's get ready. Let's get ready. Let's get ready. Okay, y'all ready for this? California Penal Law Sections 26.5A and 26. I'm sorry, 26. What am I retarded? California Penal Law Sections 261.5A and 261.5B. The statute provides, Statute 261.5A, unlawful sexual intercourse is an act of sexual intercourse accomplished with a person who is not the spouse of a perpetrator, or, I'm sorry, if the person is a minor. I just gobbled that up. Let's read it again. The statute provides, Statute 261.5A. Unlawful sexual intercourse is an act of sexual intercourse accomplished with a person who is not the spouse of the perpetrator if the person is a minor. If the purposes of this section, a minor is a person under the age of 18 years, and an adult is a person who is at least 18 years of age. B, any person who engages in an act of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor who is not more than 3 years older or 3 years younger than the perpetrator is guilty of a misdemeanor. Okay, so mistake of fact. Okay, so statute, the first statute, A, let's read it again. And this again is coming back to what I've been talking to you guys about, the age of consent. The age of consent law is why Kels is in this bind. They're trying to decipher if Kelly, Robert Sylvester Kelly, engaged in sexual activity with a person that is under the age of 18. Okay. The age of consent is why he is in the sexual bind, okay, for this charge. Okay, not the bribery charge, but for this sexual charge, this is due to trying to establish if he has sex with a person under the age, the legal age of consent being 18. Okay, so let's read it again. Unlawful sexual intercourse is an act of sexual intercourse accomplished if the person is not a spouse of the perpetrator. So basically, if it's not Kels' wife, or if the person is a minor, okay? For the purposes of this section, a minor is a person under the age of 18 years old. An adult is a person who is at least 18 years of age, okay? B, any person who engages in an act of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor who is not more than 3 years older or 3 years younger than the perpetrator is guilty of a misdemeanor. Okay, let's read that again. Any person who engages in an act of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor who is not more than 3 years older or 3 years younger, any person who engages in an act of unlawful sexual intercourse who is not more than 3 years older or 3 years younger than the perpetrator. Okay, so they're stating to you right here, if the person is under the age of 18 and a person engages with a person that is under the age of 18, if the person is not 18, 19, 20, so 21, if the person is either 3 years older, as being the oldest age of 21, then that would create a misdemeanor. Okay, that will create a misdemeanor. So this right here is also looking to me like this might be part of the what we discussed in regards to the Romeo Juliet law. Okay, and I don't know if this is based in New York. I don't know what statute this is coming from. Oh wait, it says California penal law. So I guess these are the guidelines based from California penal law. So basically, if the person is no older than 21 or 3 years younger than the perpetrator, that would only equal up to a misdemeanor. Okay, so I think that answers. I think Courtney Love, somebody was asking that question, stating that it was a misdemeanor, but this is stating this is California penal law. I don't know. I don't know where they're pulling it from. It says California penal law, but I don't know. I'm not a legal smeagol. Okay, so the defense respectfully requests that the court provide the following instruction to the jury. I added that part. Mistake of fact. Okay, they're trying to bring in, and I heard about this. I can't remember where I heard about this, but this is what the defense is arguing. They're trying to argue the mistake of fact law. Mistake of fact. Reasonable mistake by Mr. Kelly as to the age of the minor is a defense. Reasonable mistake by the defendant. I'm sorry, I want to put his name in there. Reasonable mistake by Mr. Kelly as to the age of the minor is a defense. This defense applies if Mr. Kelly held a reasonable belief that the minor was at least 18 years old at the time of the sexual intercourse. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Let's read it again. Mistake of fact. Reasonable mistake by Mr. Kelly as to the age of a minor is a defense. This defense applies to if Mr. Kelly held a reasonable belief that the minor was at least 18 years old at the time of the sexual intercourse. Walk, 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 walk. Y'all better be glad I can't percolate, because I'll be percolating right now. It's time for the percolator. Okay, let's go. Hold on. Before we juke it out. Okay, hold on. It says authority. People, they cite in case law. The authority, which is supporting what they're saying. Okay, they're citing case law, which is what after R. Kelly's trial, it's gonna have something saying people versus Mr. Kelly. Okay, that's gonna be case law for other people to use. All right, let's go. There can be no dispute that a criminal intent exists when the perpetrator proceeds with other disregard of, or in the lack of grounds for, or a belief that the female has reached the age of consent. Let's read that again. There can be no dispute that a criminal intent exists when the perpetrator proceeds with other disregard, or in the lack of grounds for, a belief that the female has reached the age of consent. But if the participants in a mutual act of sexual intercourse, believing his partner to be beyond the age of consent, with reasonable grounds for such belief, where is his criminal intent? In such circumstances, he has not consciously taken any risk. Instead, he has subjectively eliminated the risk by satisfying himself on reasonable evidence that the crime cannot be committed. If it occurs that he has been misled, we cannot realistically conclude that for such reason alone, the intent with which he undertook the act suddenly becomes heinous. The court in Hernandez reversed a conviction for statutory rape wherein the complainant was 17 years and 9 months, and the accused had a good faith belief that the complainant was over the age of consent. That part. So they're stating in this case law that the person was convicted of statutory rape, you guys, okay? However, they came back and reversed the conviction for statutory rape because the complainant was 17 years old and 9 months away from being 18, the magical number, which is the age of consent. And the accused had a good faith belief that the complainant was over the age of consent. So this case law is telling you several things, but the main thing is that we see that the person has previously been convicted of the statutory rape charge, and it's conveniently the same age and the same amount of months that they're stating that Jane Doe number 5 was. Isn't that such a coincidence? That's very coincidental, isn't it? 17 years and 9 months. Very coincidental. Good job again. Legal team. Legal team. This is what you pay for. You pay an attorney to go find case law that's going to get your behind out of jail. You guys, we just have to pray that this information is received. They are allowed to make these corrections. But once again, like I always say, if all else fails, he has multiple reasons to come back off with an appeal. And it's showing right here that this person, in the case of Hernandez, the person was convicted, Hernandez was convicted of statutory rape, but it came back and was overturned because the complainant was 17 years and 9 months, and the Hernandez had a good faith belief that the complainant was over the age of consent. Okay, so let's go back up here to the top. Same thing. The person believes with reasonable grounds. So basically, Kels, we've heard several testimony that this is why it's key. And they're trying to say, oh, it doesn't matter. She lied. They all lied about their age. Jane Doe number 5 is in the testimony. And see, that's why now they're going to force me to read the mess, okay? Because now I want to go back and I want to see in the testimony where Jane Doe number 5 stated that she lied about her age. Okay. Also, that's why I had a conversation today with Mr. Keller. When we were talking about the prosecution providing evidence of Geronda Pace having they found a ID of her having a nursing ID, which was a fake ID, proven with that being said, that she's over the age of 18. Okay, so that's why I don't let people blow smoke up your behind, people. Okay, because he tried to tell me that why would the prosecution submit that if it's gonna damage their case? It was a double-edged sword, you guys. I kept saying that. That's why please make sure you all watch these videos and follow the progression, because I want you to see what is going on and how I'm going through this case. Okay, other bloggers have their own way, but watch the progression and watch the communications that are going on the channel. I told him, I said it's a double-edged sword because it proves that she obtained a fake ID, and that she plus in her testimony she admitted about lying to her age, but now we have a fake ID is produced. He wants to convince me that Kels created this ID, or somebody that's in communication with Kels created this fake ID. Okay, which we still have to. I don't know if there was clarification on that, but the assumption is that it was received from Geronda Pace in regards to the fake ID. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish it up, and then we about to chop it up. Okay, the last thing that they have on here, the verdict sheet. The defense respectfully requests that the court amend the verdict sheet to state, so that the choices read not guilty, not proven, or guilty and proven. I think that should be added. Because this way we will be able to see if the juror is being honest in their testimony, because we know what was proven based on what information was provided via the testimony of the prosecution. So we'll be able to know if we have a hater in the jury count, because if they're saying that something is guilty and that they feel that it was proven, there is we could see if the purchase, because sometimes there's a reach, but then there's just going to be situations where there's no way that this juror came up with this information, because there's no way that this was proven in no possible way, just based on the testimony of what was provided. So once again, good job on the legal team trying to make sure that we have forced the jurors to clarify their verdict. Force them to say that he's either not guilty and it was not proven, or force them to say that he was guilty and it was proven. That's going to expose the haters, because if it comes down to them just saying that he's guilty and then it was proven on some information on a charge that was not met, we clearly know that it's a snake in the jury pool. Okay, Very good job. The rationale for such an amendment is obvious. The defendant is presumed innocent. To require the jury to surrender that presumption to first consider guilt in order to go back to a consideration of whether the defendant is not guilty is confusing, may shift the burden of proof, and denies the defendant the true presumption of innocence. Respectfully submitted, Calvin H. Scholar. Yes, you guys. Yes. 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 Thank you, Trina Tina. I got something for you. Yes. You guys. Yes. So we have to pray that they allow these changes, because it's not going to be just guilty or not guilty. That's easy for you to say guilty or not guilty. You might be a hater because you might think Trey Songz is the king of R&B and you don't want Kels to get out. So you might just put down that he guilty to try and make sure that he does prison time so Trey Songz could be the king of R&B. You don't know people's motives. So for you to add that instruction to state that whether it was proven or not, that'll help give clarification. I don't see why they would deny something like that, you guys. I think that's fair. That's very fair. And that should be changed for all verdicts given to going forward for every case. I believe that needs to be amended. Okay, so anything Jane Doe should be held against her. She said she did not have sex with R. Kelly when she was 17. Okay, so what we can infer, you guys, what the courts are now saying, but I think the feds went to the New York law to add Jane Doe 5 to the indictment and Jane 3. They both lied about their ages. Canix is fighting with the edge. Yeah, he's fighting them. He's fighting them, you guys. So let's just go based on the information that we have read. Based on what the defense is providing, there was a sexual relationship between R. Kelly and Jane Doe number 5. Okay, let's just go with what, based on what we just read, there's certain assumptions we can make. And I don't even know if the word is assumptions, but there's certain things we could take in regards to, because otherwise they would just ask for it to be dismissed if there was no understanding that they had sexual activity. Okay. The question is whether they had sex when she was a minor. So we can also kind of infer that there was a sexual activity prior to the age of 18 based on what the defense is saying, because the defense is forcing them to say that just that the defendant reasonably thought that this person, Jane Doe number 5, was over the age of 18. He asked her how old she was, and she stated that she was 18 years old. So with that being said, Kels reasonably understood, taking her word for it, that she was 18. Okay. Then let's go to the part where they were talking about the hotel. The police came to the hotel, got her ID, and once they got her ID, they looked at it, they saw the age. However, they handed it back to Jane Doe number 5. They never stated to him, I don't see anywhere in the testimony that it states that they told Mr. Kelly that she's 18 years old. I mean, that she's 17 years old and that she needs to leave the room. We never received any information like that. So let's go back to what they said. Take a picture of this too. Take a picture of this. That's not it. Where is it? This part right here. No, that's not it. Oh, I went too far. Statute. Okay, this part. Mistake of fact defense. Reasonable mistake by Mr. Kelly as to the age of Jane Doe number 5 is a defense. This defense applies if Mr. Kelly held a reasonable belief that the minor was at least 18 years old at the time of sexual intercourse. So based on what I just said, at the time that he had sex with Jane Doe number 5, he reasonably I can't say the word. He reasonably believed that she was at least 18 years old, you guys. And that's proven because of the statements I just gave you. She admitted to lying about her age to him when she met him. She kept stating, yes, I promise that I'm 18 years old. I promise. So we have to assume that the sexual activity took place prior to them being at the Lincoln Park Zoo, where she finally admitted to him the truth, you guys. Okay. I hope you guys are with me. Let me see if y'all with me. Are y'all with me? Do you guys understand? Let me read the notes. But I think the feds went to, okay, wait. We already read that. Mechanic is fighting feds. Okay, Courtney Love say she got it. I hope y'all got it. Chi-Town, what's going on? I got it. You are exactly right. Okay. I just want to make sure you guys are with me. She told him she was 18. Yes, she did. So based on what I just read to you, the defendant, Mr. Kelly, Kells reasonably believed that at the time that they had sex, she was 18 years old. This is the defense that they're trying to bring, the mistake of fact defense, okay? So y'all need to take a picture of this. When they start coming to you in regards to sleeping with the minors and slept with John Doe, she was a minor, and whoever else, specifically for Jane Doe number 5, and I don't know, this might apply to some of the other accusers as well. But we already know for a fact that I guess that's, I don't know if Jane Doe number 3 is JP, but we already know that they lied against their they lied about their age, you guys. It's none to dispute. Okay, let me drop the link and see if you guys want to come on here. But do you guys understand this information that they're providing is very good? Now, this is where we're gonna see, you guys, if the take is in and if this is a true setup. Okay. If they do not allow these certain clarifications to help clarify the information for the jury, we gonna know that the opposite of that means that they don't care, that the jury doesn't understand the information. They want the jury to use their own knowledge of reading the guidelines, and which entails they could misinterpret the information and they could wrongfully convict Kells to prison due to the violation. Okay. 3 things they talked about: the age of consent, the mistake of fact defense. They talked about the herp. Okay. Did he intentionally give herpes to Jane Doe number 5? And the first thing they talked about was what the heck was the first thing they talked about? Short brain. Go look, short brain. I done got to the bottom and got the bribery. The bribery that we already clearly done broke down. That was done by who, you guys? Who completed the bribery charges? Who is the one that is guilty of bribery? Okay? Who is guilty of bribery? Not Mr. Kelly. Okay? So we gonna see. Good job to the legal defense. Very good job, because they have tried to provide guidelines and amendments in effort to make sure that their client receives a not guilty verdict. We're going to see if the judge allows this information in. And I'm telling you guys, so far every motion has been denied. Okay. Everyone has been denied. So we can assume, but let's not even bring that energy. Let's believe that it's going to be approved. And let's pray that even that if it's approved, that the jurors understand what the changes are and what the changes mean. That's right. Chi-Town. Demetrius Smith is the one who committed the bribery. Okay. I want you guys to make sure you are ready when the ops come for you. Everything we was talking about today, I wish I would have read this information prior to it, because I would have shut it down. Okay. I'm about to go back here and we're going to do a short synopsis, because clearly it shows. I want you guys to take, I didn't even know that picture was up there. This is bigger for you guys. Clearly this shows oh, I went too far. Where's the bribery statement? Okay, this part right here. This clearly shows what Demetrius Smith testified to in regards to the bribery charge. He stated that Mr. Kelly had no knowledge of what happened with the bribery, the marriage certificate. I'm sorry, the marriage license. Okay. This right here is you guys' statement. The next time somebody comes you talking to you about the doggone marriage certificate, marriage license, shut them down. These 2 paragraphs right here are all you need to say. All the information you need is contained right in there. Okay. That's it. That's all. Now let's go down to the communicable disease. Okay, and giving that to Jane Doe number 5, they're basically stating that intent. Okay, wait. Let me go back to, I'm sorry, in the bribery, there was something else that I wanted to bring out. Okay, right here again. Use this where it says, therefore, according to the pattern, jury instructions, the person charged pursuant to the statute has to either promise or tender property or promise to tender property to another person with intent to cause the other person to influence the performance of the official act. We all know Mr. Kelly does not meet this. He is not the one who promised or tendered property to the other person. Okay. Let's go down to the communicable disease. They're basically stating that they wanted change to decide if Mr. Kelly willfully intended to willfully or intentionally intended to transmit a sexually transmitted disease to Jane Doe number 5. And also, they want the clarification put in there to make sure that the instructions are letting the jury know that just because, even if he did or didn't make the practical means to prevent the transmission of a communicable disease, that is not sufficient information to prove intent, that he intended to give the herp to Jane Doe number 5. Okay. Age of consent. Number 3, the third thing they're addressing. The mistake of fact defense. A reasonable mistake by the defendant as to the age of a minor is a defense. So you all, when they come for you, say mistake of fact. Okay. That's the defense that the Kel's attorneys are going with. Mistake of fact. Mr. Kelly believed that Jane Doe number 5 was at least 18 years old at the time he had sexual intercourse with her. Okay. 3 things. Demetrius Smith had been saying that on YouTube interviews for the longest. Oh, was he? Okay. All right, you guys. If y'all don't come on here and ask questions, y'all make comments. We're going to wrap it up. I think this is very good information. We should be proud of his defense team, you guys. We should. They did another excellent job. But we have to see if the information is going to be received. But as I said before, all the prior motions have been denied. But I'm telling you guys, the setup, the framing, whatever words you guys want to use, if they deny this, the setup is real. Because this information that is provided does nothing except help the jury understand the information that they're receiving. And it provides clarification. It kills all of the stereotypes of what people's personal belief of statutory rape is. All of the arguments that we have had, this letter right here within these 8 pages discusses the guidance that needs to be provided to the jury. He admitted to infamous Sylvia that RSK had nothing to do with that, did not even know about it. There you go. But he also, that was in the testimony though. That's what they're stating right here. That's what the jury is stating. They're stating this right here. Let's read it again. At the instant trial, the government called Demetrius Smith regarding the bribery charge. On direct, Mr. Smith testified that he alone offered money to another person, that Mr. Kelly was not present when he discussed anything about money, and that he received the money from another person, not Mr. Kelly. On cross-examination, Mr. Smith asked, okay, now, Robert never had anything to do with you bribing anyone to get a marriage license. Am I correct? He said, no, he didn't. The count related to the bribery should be dismissed. They're trying to get that count thrown out. If the court, however, decides to submit it, that's where they get to talking about the mediator. Okay. That statement right there tells you what Demetrius Smith testified to. Him testifying that was not linked to Kells, and Kells was not aware of it. Regardless of what they say, that part right there is stating what Demetrius Smith's testimony was. Period, point blank. End of story. Okay. All right, you guys. So that's it. That is it. We have read that. Last but not least, any questions? Let me know. Because we're gonna close it out. But this is wonderful, you guys. This because we don't have the legal mind. We don't know what the statutes are unless they provided, which they did. Okay. We think our brains are working. If you're not a legal person, your brain works in layman terms. So you just assume that if the person is under 18, then you're guilty. But there are provisions. There are provisions to it. Okay. And that's what we read. All right, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. So again, please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed, and hit the notification bell so you will get the notifications, okay, when I go live or if I upload a video. Also, everyone, please hit the like button so it'll share my information across YouTube to bring more subscribers to the channel, and people will see my videos on YouTube. And also, last but not least, we're trying to get at least $50 more in donations for the transcripts so we can have them. However, we're gonna see what Trina Tina, what we can what she has, and if she's able to share that information. Shout out to everybody who came back to the channel. Shout out to Kale's defense team. They kicking butt, you guys. We just gotta see if they taking names. We just gotta see. But guess what? Next week is our week. The defense is gonna come in. They're going to provide. They're gonna have some information, you guys. I just want them to drop my jaw. I want them to say some stuff that we like. Dang, where you get that from? I really want them to come with some hardcore stuff that to make them just be like, you know what, just dismiss all the charges. Okay, just forget it. Okay. But yeah. They trying to put Kales back against the wall, so the defense is coming back like, hold on, wait a minute, So we're gonna see what next week what happens, you guys. But be in good spirits. Okay, the information that we got today is promising. We learned a lot of information from just this 8-page document. Okay, we learned a whole lot of information. All right. Yes, he is. He's cold. That dude is out cold. They really kicking butt, you guys. They kicking butt. So we're gonna go ahead and close it out. Do everything in God's divine order. Do everything in the spirit of righteousness to make sure righteousness prevails. Free Kales, you guys. Stay prayed up. Okay? Stay prayed up. And as always, Skyye Lyfe loves y'all. Have a good night.